Okay, hello guys and gals. So full disclosure, I kind of forgot I needed to make this video, so this video should have been posted 3 minutes ago as of recording this, but I kept putting it off. So anyways, we have here a Ray Bradbury book, or story, rather. Fahrenheit 451. Now there's something that I noticed about a lot of these rather strange stories, and I mean strange in a good way, not in a weird way. For those of you who don't know, Ray Bradbury was from Illinois. Probably nowhere near me because Illinois is such a long state, aka from north to south. Where it's actually closer to go to St. Louis than it is to go to Chicago from where I am because I'm in southern Illinois. So that's always kind of blown my mind because it's a state over. But anyways, St. Louis is a state over, yet it's like 2 hours by train. Is that right? I know it's like 2 hours from Texas to Springfield by plane. I think maybe it is. Maybe it was 2 hours. I don't know. Anyways, doesn't really matter. I've also noticed that sci-fi writers, even not ones from Illinois, have made movies or stories about Illinois. Like Camp Crystal Lake was supposedly in Illinois, I think, from the Friday the 13th franchise. Invasion of the Pod People, I think, was this obscure town in Illinois. And so you'll see that, especially with like alien abductions and weird stuff. And living in Illinois, I can fully see why people would say that. So yeah, we have Ray Bradbury here, and if I remember right, I do have a book by Ray Bradbury, a book about writing, and he said that he would like write a story every day, to stay in practice. And I believe it. He has a very large category of stories. And this is no exception. I don't think that we're quite to the point where society is in Fahrenheit 451. In this particular iteration or proposed future, books are illegal. Now, I know that even some Dr. Seuss books were like banned or something. I don't know why. But I think that when they start like banning like children's books and stuff like that, it's going a little bit far. But it's not to the extent that of Fahrenheit 451 yet, where it's illegal to actually own books. Because I'd have thousands and thousands of accounts of against me then because I've owned thousands and thousands of books. Literally, I probably own more books than the local library. But yeah. I can see why some books would be banned, though. I get why they do it. If they contain something that's, like, damaging. I know they can't technically sell you books on, like, how to build an explosive device or anything like that because it's dangerous information. And if that fell into the wrong hands, then it could be dangerous. So I see why books that perpetuate a dangerous idea do get banned. So I'm not completely against banning books. Our library, I think one of their events was a banned book event or something where it like listed all the books that were banned, throughout history and stuff like that. I don't think I have that information anymore, but it's really interesting to see. Because sometimes books are banned for strange reasons. The same reason that some movies are banned in certain countries for strange reasons. Usually that has to do with like regional customs and stuff like that. Like why Lightyear was like banned in like South Africa or something because it contained a kiss between two women or something. But that's not a movie that I've actually ever seen because I think that Disney movies have kind of really gone downhill as of late. But anyways, but not for that reason. Just that the overall quality and originality of movies from Disney has really kind of plummeted. And they've kind of been milking the Star Wars franchise a little bit too much. To the point where nobody actually wants to have anything to do with the Star Wars franchise anymore. Because Disney keeps trying to milk it for all it's worth. But anyways, Ray Bradbury was a prolific author. I think he passed away. I don't know. I'm going to assume that he has. And he has a massive What? Oops. Sorry. Oh, that's fine. Oops. Whoa. Where did my picture go? Where did it go? Is this it? Here we go. Okay, here we go. Ugh. I don't know why it did that. Okay. Hopefully I didn't lose any footage there. I might have. But anyways, in this particular reality, this dystopian universe, it's illegal to own books, basically. And that's basically the idea being that it's easier to control people if they are uneducated, which is true. That was abundant in like the old times when like the general populace couldn't read, and so the king could say whatever he wanted to and get people to do whatever he wanted to because they weren't really smart enough to say no. So, anyways, education is like the best way to counteract that. But there wasn't much education back in like the Middle Ages because it was kind of like, I don't know why. But anyways, in this particular, in this book, it does cover a possible scenario where if books were outlawed, what would actually happen to society? And it's kind of striking and scary. Exactly, how bad things could get without education and without books. It's easy to overlook this because of the proliferation that we have. We have the internet, basically, and every book written is probably on the internet somewhere, and you can just look it up. Even like obscure ones. Now, at one time, make sure this doesn't freeze on me. Now, at one time, I accidentally was looking up something, and it showed me the amount of books that had ever been written. And I don't remember the number. It was like 2 billion, 3 billion, something like that amount of books. And so, yeah, I told the head librarian about that. And she's like, well, yeah, it's because people can now even self-publish through Amazon. And it's true. If you have a story idea, you can submit your story to Amazon and they'll do all the work for you. They'll publish it for you. So I'd say the number is probably even higher than that, even ever since I checked. So basically anyone can become an author because it really isn't all that difficult these days. I mean, in the old days, listen to me talk about the old days, you had to have an agent, and someone to proofread it, and then you'd have to go through a publisher and stuff like that. But these days, you can self-publish. Even if it's just not even through Amazon, you could probably just publish your own books through your own website and stuff like that. I still remember when our library got a book of these books to proofread or something, and I think it was called The Gods Are Dead or something like that, and I don't even remember who the author was. But what was interesting was, and I do have a few copies of this particular book, I don't know where they are now, but it was really difficult to read because it was all basically just one paragraph, and there were no breaks between the sentences or anything, so it was very difficult to read. I don't know if it was some kind of error with the margins or what, but it was a very difficult book to read. Not so much to the extent of The Incredible Adam Spark, which is by, which was a book that somebody just sent me out of the blue from over in Europe or Britain, I think. Someone from over there sent me a copy of the book, The Incredible Adam Spark, and I'll probably do a review of that book eventually. And it is basically kind of a stream of consciousness book that is written in a Scottish accent, which is really difficult to describe. But it's also a very good book. I think it has a very good plot. And I still don't know who sent me that book. It's kind of a mystery. I'll go more into the mystery of that book when I actually review the book, because this isn't about that book. It's about Fahrenheit 451. What I'm saying is that, at least in this iteration, I've got knots in my hair for some reason, and in this iteration of reality, we have access to basically all the knowledge that we could ever want or ever need through the internet and through other outlets like that. Unlike the people in this particular reality, the one portrayed in Fahrenheit 451, it is truly like a dystopian thing. Because we have the main character here who's married, but his wife has depression or something and tries to unalive herself every single night by taking a bunch of pills. So they would call in a robot, pump her stomach, and then she'd just wake up. So yeah, and we see what life is like for I think it was called a fireman or something like that. People who like burn books, which is kind of I could never imagine that. I mean, I saw like Day After Tomorrow or whatever it was called. I can never remember what the name of the movie is, but it's the one where there's like wolves on the submarine or something, and the world like freezes over, and so they're in this library and they have to burn the books to stay warm. That would be I'd rather freeze to death than burn a book, honestly. But yeah, I think it was called Day After Tomorrow, or something like that. It was like one of those disaster movies. I never actually watched the whole thing because I think I've only actually like saw a TV movie version of it, and I'm like, oh, it's kind of crazy because there are these wolves on the submarine or something, and it was like crazy. But anyways, but I support the idea. I mean, I support people's rights to write whatever they want to, provided that the ideas are not destructive, that is. But anyways, as for this book, I know I've talked probably 10 minutes about other things, but we need to get to this book. Very well written and very well paced. Totally really good read. I still remember reading this, when I first read this anyways, because this is a book that you basically come back to every so often. I actually had this on the channel, but Audible, of all things, said, oh, you have to take it down. So I did. I mean, I have like a no questions asked policy. If somebody wants a video taken down or a video series, I'm like, sure. So yeah, Audible themselves came and said, hey, you have to take down your reading of Fahrenheit 451 because, well, we own the rights to it. And I always thought that, books that old were like beyond like copyright, but Audible's like, hey, you got to take it down. So I did. I probably could have like said, oh, hey, I want to like, fight that. But I'm like, it wasn't really doing real well on the channel anyways. It had like 6 views. Yeah, that happens every so often with books I've read. It happened with Watership Down. They wanted me to take down one of the Watership Down videos, so I like took down all 46 of the videos that were up on the channel just to be safe. And I probably could have said, well, hey, wait, but no, I was just like, oh yeah, go ahead, take it down. And then the copyright strike went away after like 3 months. So yeah. But anyways, Fahrenheit 451. Ray Bradbury is very gifted in world building, as always. And it's terrifying. I found this book to be terrifying to see what life was like, It's kind of a very cold world, I would say. But yeah. Anyways, it's always worth a read, and I'm pretty sure it's probably standard reading these days at schools. I don't know anything about the current curriculum, but if it isn't, it should be. Just like 1984, I think that's also should be standard reading. Basically, just all these like dystopian things should kind of be lessons of what happens, without books. It's nice to have lessons like this, reminders of society that like without learning or education and stuff like that. But yeah. I don't know. I don't even know where I got this copy. This is like note to teachers and parents. This must be like I know that this was a book club book for the library. I didn't actually take part in the book club, but they ended up with like a bunch of copies of Fahrenheit 451 and other books. What I would call as book club books, and so this was probably one of those. I think this probably came from the library. I don't know. But yeah, this is an actual really an old copy, I would say. I'm not sure what the copyright is on this, but amazing. It is an amazing book. Let me refresh my memory here. See, this was completely out of the blue. It was Also, the meaning of the name is 451 degrees Fahrenheit is the temperature that burns paper. So that's why you don't want to put paper in the oven and heat it to 451 because you'll have a fire inside your oven. I don't know what that translates to Celsius for like the people overseas, or if they have like a version of this overseas that is like the Celsius version of this. I don't know. That'd be kind of interesting. But yeah. Wait. Let me see. 451 F to Celsius. It's forwarding. I don't want it to forward. So we'll just 232.7 degrees Celsius. So maybe there's a version overseas that's Ray Bradbury's 233 Celsius 233. I don't know, but interesting. It's actually terrifying, but it's very well written. It's kind of, it's a good book to read if you want to have a conversation with somebody. You know, if you have a bunch of people that read this book and then you can get together and say, oh, hey, do you realize this about the book? And isn't it scary when this happens and stuff like that? But yeah, this is an amazing book. You should really check it out. It's a classic, what I would call an American classic. It's basically classified as literature these days. So yeah. But yeah. Anyways, I know I didn't go in depth into the book because I don't want to give anything away, but yeah, this is a book that I would highly recommend you check out. I'm going to have to cut the review short here because I'm already 20 minutes over when this should have gone live. But anyways, yeah. But yeah, this is an amazing book. If you haven't read this, you should. If you have read this, you should read it again. But then again, that's just my opinion. You can either take my opinion or leave it. Either way is fine. And that's going to do it for this video. Thanks for watching, everyone. You are loved, and have a great day.